Hi friends, this is Wahida working as an assistant professor in ECE department in Chevrolet Engineering College. In previous lecture, we discussed about the connections between the processor and the memory. Means how the data is transferred between the processor and memory. Okay, so in case of processor, we have control unit and ALU, arithmetic and logic unit. Along with these two units, processor will also have memory address register, data register, program counter, instruction register, and general purpose register. Okay, so we learned all the register operations. Instruction register holds the instruction that is currently being executed. Program counter, it contains the memory address of the next instruction to be fetched and executed. This is the program counter. And the next one is memory address register. It hold the address of the location to be accessed from the memory. And next, memory data register, it contains the data to be either written into the or read out of the addressed location in the memory. Okay, so and next, general purpose registers are also used for storage purpose. These are the internal to the processor. Okay, and firstly, the memory, from the memory address register, the address is sent to the memory. And in within the memory we have to search the address. Okay, so after identifying the address, we will send the data from memory to the MDR register, memory data register. Okay, so from the data register, the data is sent to the ALU. Okay, so with this process, two or more operands will be sent to the ALU. After that, ALU will perform the operation according to the instructions which is stored in the instruction register. During this time, the program counter will be updated with the next instruction which has to be executed, whose address. Okay, the address of the next instruction which has to be executed. Okay, so with this process, the ALU will perform the required operation. After performing the operation, we will get the result. That result is sent back to the MDR register. Okay, from MDR register, the result is stored in the memory. Within the memory, the address is, so the address which is in memory address register, in that address the result is going to be stored. So this is the how the data is transferred between the processor and memory. And next, in today lecture, we learned about the bus structure. See, so we are transferring the data between any two devices by using a bus. So today we are going to learn about that bus structure. How many types of buses we are having. Okay, so how the data is transferred by using those buses. This is today we are going to learn. Okay, bus structure. So far we have discussed the functions of individual parts of a computer to form an operational system. Okay, so just we have discussed the individual parts of a computer to form the an operational system, and these parts must be connected in some organized way. So in order to operate that individual parts means the processor, memory, input device, output device, these all are individual parts of a computer. Now we have to connect these parts in some organized way. So to achieve a reasonable speed of operation, a computer must be organized so that all its units can handle one full word of data at a given time. Okay, when a word of data is nothing but some group of bits is known as a word. Okay, so when a word of data is transferred between the units, here units means functional units, it's maybe an input device, output device, a processor or a memory. Okay, when a word of data is transferred between units, all its bits are transferred in parallel. Instead of transferring bit by bit, we can transfer the bits in parallel. Okay, so if the bits are transferred in parallel, it increases the speed of operation instead of transferring bit by bit information. Okay, so that is the bits are transferred simultaneously over many voids or lines. Okay, so because of one bit per line, we can transfer one bit of information through one line. So if we want to transfer a number of bits in parallel, we have to use many voids or lines. Okay, next a group of lines that serves as a connecting path for several devices. Okay, so in order to transferring the data or bits or a word of information between the devices, we are using a many lines or voids in order to transfer the data in parallel. So a group of lines or wires that serves as a connecting path for several devices, not only two devices, so more than two devices. So okay, so connecting path for several devices is known as a bus. Okay, so what is a bus mean? A group of lines or wires that serves as a connecting path for several devices is called a bus. So here there are three types of buses. So first one is a data bus, second one is address bus, third one is control bus. Okay, so first we will look into what is a data bus. A data bus, here the name itself we will know it transfers the data. Okay, so this bus is transferring the data, so the name is given as a data bus. Okay, so the data bus carry a data from one device to other device. Okay, its bus width is equal to number of bits in a bus. Okay, so any bus, so data bus width is nothing but how many bits we are transferring in that bus is known as its bus width. So data bus width is equal to number of bits in a bus. If I am transferring 4 bits in data bus, means that data bus width is 4. If we are transferring 10 bits, means its bus width is 10. If we are transferring 20 bits, means its bus width is 20. So for data bus, the bus width is number of bits in a bus. This is the first one. And next the second one is address bus. Address bus, see the collection of words used identify particular location in the memory. Okay, so here an address bus holds the address of the memory. Okay, so the data bus transfers the data from one device to other device or between several devices. Address bus transfers the address, it transfers the address of the memory location. Okay, so address bus width is equal to maximum memory capacity of the system. So for in case of data bus, bus width is number of bits in a bus. In case of address bus, the bus width is the maximum memory capacity of the system. Okay, this is the about address bus and data bus. Data bus transfers the data between several devices and address bus transfers the address. It holds the address of the memory location. And next third one is control bus. The control bus, it regulates the activity on the bus, means it's going to control the address bus and data bus. So both the address and data bus are going to be controlled by using a control bus. Okay, so just now we will look into a single bus structure. Okay, so in case of single bus structure, see here all the units, means input unit, output and memory and processor, all these units are connected to the bus. This is the, see, this is the bus. Okay, so all these individual units are going to be connected to a single bus, because the bus can be used for only one transfer at a time. Here we are used a single bus, means in this bus we have the address bus, data bus, control bus. We are having only single bus. Okay, so by using this bus we can transfer only one, we can perform only one transfer at a time. Only two units can actively use the bus at a given time. Okay, only two units, either it may be input output or input to memory or memory to processor, processor to memory, or from a memory to the output device. Only two units can use the bus, at a time. And also only one transfer can be performed, means either data is transferred or address is transferred. Okay, either address or data is transferred, only one transfer at a time. So during that time also only two units can actively use the bus at a given time. This is the single bus structure. Okay, so the main advantage of a single bus structure is its low cost and flexibility for acting peripheral devices. So here we are using only single bus, means it reduces the cost, and also it is very flexible in case of connecting a peripheral devices. Okay, and next, a system containing multiple buses. So far we are discussed about a single bus structure. The system may also contain multiple buses, not only a single bus. So okay, the system can also use multiple buses in order to achieve more concurrency in operations by allowing two or more transfers to be carried out at the same time. In case of single bus structure, only one transfer at a time. Only we can transfer one data, one transfer at the same time. But in case of multiple bus structure, it allows two or more transfers to be carried out at the same time. This leads to a better performance. Okay, so it increases the performance. Performance means it increases the speed of operations, because here we are transferring, we can perform two or more transfers at the same time. Here parallel operation is going to be performed. It increases the performance increases, it means speed of the system is increased. But here the cost is also increased. Why cost gets increasing? Here we are using multiple buses. It is a multiple bus structure, means we are using more number of buses. If the number of buses increased, the cost will also be increased compared with single bus structure. Okay, so this is about the single bus structure and multiple bus structure. In case of single bus structure, in case of a single bus structure, the main advantage is low cost, and it's very flexible for peripheral devices. But in case of multi-bus structure, it allows the parallel operations, means it increases the performance. Speed gets increased compared with single bus structure, but the drawback is it's along with performance, it also increases the cost because of increasing the number of buses. And next, the devices connected to a bus vary widely in their speed of operations. Some electromechanical devices such as keyboard and printers are relatively slower compared with others like memory and processor units. Okay, so compared with the memory and processor units, keyboard and printer works slowly. Okay, so in order to operate those printer and keyboard with an electronic speed, making them fast parts of the computer. Okay, compared with memory and processor, here keyboard and printer works slowly. If any device or any unit works slowly, means overall speed of the system gets decreased. It means the performance will get decreased. Okay, so all the units must and should work speed. So if all the units work speed, then only overall system performance will gets increased. If any one of the unit of the system will operate with less speed, then the overall speed of that system will be decreased, and also automatically the performance will be gets decreased. So, okay, so because of all these devices must be communicate with each other over a bus. An efficient transfer mechanism that is not constrained by the slow devices, and that can be used to smooth out the difference in timing among processor, memories and external devices is necessary. It is very necessary in order to get the better performance of the system. Okay, so for this one, a common approach is to include a buffer register. Okay, so in order to smooth out the differences in timings, so we are using a buffer register with the device to hold the information during transfer. So what the buffer register will do? Just it hold the information during the transfer. Means it's like a register, means it works as a memory, temporary memory. Okay, for example, consider the transfer of a character from a processor to a printer. Okay, so here I want to transfer the data or a character from processor to memory. Okay, see how we will use a buffer register during this transfer. What the processor will do here, the processor sends the character over the bus to the printer bus. Okay, so just the processor will transfer the character over the bus. Through buses only we will transfer the data between two units. Okay, so over the bus to the printer buffer. Once the buffer is loaded, okay, so here printer buffer is nothing but a buffer register. So before transferring into the printer, directly to the printer, first the processor transferring the data to the printer buffer. Once that buffer is loaded completely, or it stores the complete data, now the printer starts printing without further intervention by the processor. Okay, so first the processor sends the data to the printer buffer. Once all the data is stored in the printer buffer, then only Means once the buffer is completely loaded, then only the printer starts printing without any further intervention or any further disturbances by the processor or any other some units or any other some devices. Okay, so here the bus and the processor no longer be needed. Why? Because all the data is stored in the printer buffer. The printer take the data from the buffer and it prints the result. During this time, the bus and also the processor are not required or not needed. Okay, so that they can be released for other activity. And the printer continuously printing the characters which is stored in the buffer, and it is not available, and means the printer is not available for further transfer unit, for further transfers until this process is completed, until the data in the buffer is completely printed. Okay, so first the printer will prints all the data present in the buffer. After this operation, only the printer will be available for further operation. Okay, so during this process, during the printer prints the results from the buffer, during this time the printer is not available for any other transfers until the present process is completed. Thus, the buffer registers smooth out timing differences among the processor, memories and IO devices. Means here we are balancing the timing so that the all operation, means the overall system speed will not be reduced, means the performance will not be reduced. So okay, so by using these buffer registers, we are increasing the performance of the system. Okay, so this is about the bus. So what is a single bus, what is the multiple bus, and how the data is transferred, means how we are increasing this data speed, means by using the buffer register we are increasing the speed of the data transfer, means the speed of overall system gets increased, performance will be increased. Okay, so this is the bus structure. Through buses only we will transfer the data between the functional units. So without buses we can't transfer the data. And in coming lecture, in next lecture, we will discuss about this software. Okay, so what type of softwares we are having? Mainly we will have two types of softwares. One is a system software and second one is application software. So in next lecture we will discuss about the system software and application software. What is the system software and what is the application software, and what is the differences between these system software and application software. So about this system and application software we will discuss in our next lecture. Okay, thank you.